Welcome to Mark's British Airways Fleet Update, looking at short and long-haul fleets.
So let's get going with another British Airways fleet update. We'll be having a look at some of their subsidiaries, wholly owned short and long-haul aircraft. But before we get into the detail, just a couple of things. I'd remind you all, do subscribe to the channel. It's great to be able to get those notifications. You can click for notifications and then you won't miss a British Airways fleet update as they come out. It's also great if you appreciate the news and the information to press the like button. That really helps my channel. And if you've got any questions, any thoughts, any corrections, anything you'd like me to cover next time, do drop it in the comments. Well, one of the comments I received recently was that I hadn't spoken about the British Airways Cityflyer fleet, and you know, that's absolutely correct. I haven't spoken much about the British Airways Cityflyer fleet that predominantly flies out of London City Airport. It's a fleet of Embraer 195 aircraft, and British Airways have been engaged on a refit of those aircraft. You know, it's probably not a very popular refit, I suspect, with customers. Certainly I've flown on those aircraft. All 20 of those planes have now got the new 106 seat format. They've squeezed up some of the seats, and all the seats are the same. So if you've flown in Club Europe in those aircraft, you know, you don't get the luxury of an empty seat between you and your partner. The food is very good, the service is good, but it's just not quite the same. Anyway, that's the British Airways Cityflyer update on the Embraer 195. I thought I'd just let you know Golf Lima Charlie Yankee Juliet, the last aircraft to be fitted, and Yankee Sierra, the penultimate one. That work done at Exeter, and regular maintenance on the fleet continues at Exeter Airport with Yankee Lima and Yankee Yankee currently at Exeter receiving that attention. Well, on the British Airways Euroflyer fleet, based out of Gatwick, aircraft Golf Echo Uniform X-Ray Echo at Birmingham since the 6th of November, receiving attention. Airbus A319 Golf Delta Bravo Charlie Hotel is at Birmingham, receiving attention, and Golf Echo Uniform Hotel at Dublin. 3 aircraft at Glasgow Uniform India Yankee Alpha and X-Ray Charlie, and there have been a number of movements to and from Prestwick for that Wi-Fi fitment. It's quite interesting. Now they've signed a contract and got the aircraft away on the winter schedules. That work happening fairly quickly, actually. And Golf Tango Tango November Whiskey was at Prestwick getting Wi-Fi on the 16th of November. That aircraft flew back to London Heathrow as the BA 9273, straight back into service, strangely enough on a Glasgow rotation, and their aircraft was replaced by Golf Tango Tango November Zulu, which flew out that morning, in fact, to replace the aircraft on the 23rd of November. British Airways being quite disciplined about those moves, so a crew pick up an aircraft at Heathrow, they fly it to Prestwick, they swap over on the ground with the aircraft that has finished its Wi-Fi fitment, and they fly it back. So a little bit inefficient to have those empty flights, but it's good to see that work being programmed and managed in an efficient manner. And I guess, you know, many of us have been critical of British Airways over some of the challenges that they've had to address and manage and how they've managed it. But I think you can see a bit of a step change in the last few months. The British Airways recognise that having aircraft in their fit condition available for service needs to have a higher priority, and they're achieving that by contracting out more maintenance. We know that's expensive, it will cost them money, but also getting to grips, now we're in the winter timetable, with things like Wi-Fi fitment. You know, it's very irritating for passengers to get on what seems to be a brand new aircraft. You're expecting all the bells and whistles, and you find that Airbus have supplied BA an aircraft with no Wi-Fi. Now that's what the specification says. Well, before I talk about particular members of the long-haul fleet in British Airways, one of the things that I was just going to cover is a policy decision about the British Airways route network, and that's the reinstatement of flights to Bahrain from March. I mean, flights are underway to Bahrain at the moment. There's a daily British Airways flight through to Bahrain until early next year. The plan had been to cancel that from the schedules completely and for British Airways to no longer serve Bahrain, to delete the destination, to close the cabin crew base. This caused an enormous fuss amongst British Airways stakeholders, but also to a wider audience, to the UK military, to the Foreign Office, and to many stakeholders who said this was a destination that British Airways had served for decades and decades, and that abandoning the route was not an appropriate decision, didn't really fit in with the way that the UK needs to show its commitment to the government in Bahrain, which has supported the UK. So I think words were had in probably very high places, and British Airways has changed its decision. They haven't entirely reversed it because they're only reinstating 3 flights a week, although they are committing to go daily from the winter schedules in 2025. And whereas Bahrain is generally operated with a 777, the flights they've loaded up into the schedules for summer 2025 are with a Boeing 787 Series 8, so that's a dream liner with obviously a bit less capacity. So that's a long haul bit of news. So we'll stick with long haul and we'll talk about what else is going on. Well, on the Airbus A350 fleet, I don't have any notable aircraft movements to talk about, but what I can do is give you an update on the investment that's taking place, the investment that's been announced at Cardiff. So British Airways have a maintenance facility at Cardiff, and we often talk on this podcast about aircraft moving to and from Cardiff. Now, recently, it's generally been the 777, the 777, and the 787 fleet. Of course, the 747 fleet, when it was in BA's fleet, was a regular attender at Cardiff. And since the 747s have gone, Cardiff has struggled to play a bigger role as it would like in the maintenance of the BA fleet because it doesn't have the equipment and the capability to support and maintain the long-haul Airbus aircraft. Now, it's simply too small to accommodate an Airbus A380, so we can expect BA to carry on outsourcing that maintenance. And at the moment, it's outsourced to Lufthansa Technik at Manila. And strangely enough, we'll be talking about Lufthansa Technik in Manila in just a moment. But what this announcement is all about is expanding one of the 3 existing maintenance bays at British Airways Maintenance in Cardiff to facilitate the long-haul Airbus A350 fleet. When the work's complete, British Airways Maintenance in Cardiff will go from 1 to 2 fully flexible bays that will allow complex and more detailed work to be completed. Now, British Airways are telling us this work is part of their £7 billion transformation investment getting underway next year. They expect to complete the work in 2026, and they remind us that the Cardiff maintenance facility employs 480 people. So good bit of news. We haven't seen, of course, any A350s heading to Cardiff, but I suspect once that work's complete, we certainly will do. So let's move on and talk about the Airbus A380 fleet. Well, last time I updated you, there were 2 Airbus A380s in that maintenance facility I've just talked about in Manila. Now, Golf X-Ray Lima Echo Foxtrot went over for a relatively short visit. That returned from Manila, unusually not doing the sort of Singapore swap. Of course, you can only move an aircraft from Manila back to London on the Singapore swap if you've got an aircraft to swap it with, and there wasn't, so it flew non-stop from Manila to London. It reached an altitude of 43,000 feet on that flight, so it's quite interesting, an aircraft with no cargo, no passengers, very lightly loaded, what they can do. And immediately the aircraft reached London Heathrow, it was prepared and readied to fly straight out that night to Dubai on the BA 107. Also to mention on the A380 update, aircraft Echo Bravo has been out of use at London Heathrow since the 9th of November, undertaking, I think, some lighter maintenance at the London facility. And then just as we finalise this production, the other aircraft at Manila, Golf X-Ray Lima Echo India has made its way from Manila to Angeles City on the early hours of the 24th of November, after about 12 hours, which I think is the rest period for the crew, and also waiting for a suitable slot at Singapore. The aircraft has flown from Angeles City across to Singapore, ready to work the BA 12 back to London Heathrow. And the aircraft replaced at Manila by Echo Alpha, the first of the British Airways A380s. That worked out on the evening of the 23rd of November on the BA 11 to Singapore, and straight away that aircraft was on its way to Manila, departing Singapore at 21:19. Because it's a late night flight, the aircraft was able to get a slot straight into Manila. The reason that the aircraft Echo India was not able to do that is that Manila is an exceptionally congested airport, as in fact is Singapore. There's very little room on the ground at Singapore. So in order to depart Manila at a time that works for Manila and get to Singapore at a time that works for Singapore, you very often have to stop somewhere on the way that's not busy, and Angeles City does fit the bill. So a bit of action there on the A380 front. It's also quite good to be able to record one of these updates and not have to talk to you about aircraft having difficulties being routed back to their origin or anything of that nature. So that's an update on the Airbus A380. Moving on and talking about the British Airways 777 fleet. Again, a bit of movement on aircraft that have been undertaking maintenance. Golf Victor India Kilo made its way back from Cardiff on the 20th of November back to London Heathrow, straight on the BA 109 that evening to Dubai. Dubai seems to be a favourite flight for aircraft coming back from maintenance. Now, I've previously referenced Golf Victor India Alpha having flown out to Taipei, where British Airways are outsourcing more of their 777 maintenance. That aircraft arrived in Taipei on the 29th of October. 25 days later, it's ready to come back. So on the 24th of November, BA sent a crew for 777s out to Taipei, but there's just one crew, so it's too far for them to fly the aircraft all the way back to London Heathrow. So on the morning of the 24th of November, the aircraft took off at 10:37, undertook a flight of 10 hours and 11 minutes across to Doha in Qatar. Of course, Qatar Airways, a clear partner of British Airways. Space was found for the aircraft to park up and stay overnight. And then on the morning of Monday, the 25th of November, the aircraft took off from Doha at 9:56, heading back to London Heathrow with the same crew who'd rested overnight in a hotel in Doha. Golf Victor India Victor remains at Cardiff, having its club suite fitted. And since I did my last update, 2 of the Rolls-Royce fitted 777 aircraft have made their way from London Heathrow down to Cardiff for maintenance. On the 17th of November, Golf Yankee Mike Romeo worked the BA 9177 to Cardiff, and Golf Yankee Mike Lima headed down 3 days later, BA 9173 down to Cardiff for its maintenance. Now, despite a lot of the publicity that we've seen in the wider industry about British Airways and the Rolls-Royce fitted Dreamliners, it's positive to be able to note that the fleet position has not deteriorated significantly, and actually a positive development in that one of the Boeing 787-9s, which is Golf Zulu Bravo Kilo Mike, did return to service, having been out of traffic since the 13th of October. It was originally penciled in for a Mexico flight on Sunday the 24th, but it didn't in fact make that, and it headed out on the morning of Monday the 25th of November on the BA 7 from London to Tokyo Haneda. So that brings us up to date with developments across the British Airways fleet. I hope you found that of interest. If you found it useful, do like. And if you want to comment and give me more information or some tips for the next BA Fleet update, I'd very much welcome that. And I'll catch you very soon.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and click the notification button so you don't miss any of the great trips Mark has coming your way on this YouTube channel.